All right, folks, welcome back to the TNT show. We got some hot topics today, NFL wise. So, not going to, expand too much on that. We just going to jump right into it. Tyler has our notes and stuff as always, so I'll just go ahead and let him do what he does.
Yeah, so week 15, we have what, 3 weeks away? Or 3 weeks away from, wrapping up the regular season. A lot of teams are fixing to be sitting at the house, planning for next year, getting ready for the draft, obviously, hoping people get healthy. I'd probably say the biggest news, it wasn't that bad, but Patrick Mahomes did get hurt. They said he suffered an ankle injury. I don't know the extent um, of that. So that's puts Kansas City in an interesting spot because, you're still playing for that first round bye, but at
Yep.
the same time, this guy is your franchise. The last thing you want is to push him to play or, for him, obviously he's going to want to play. That's just all jokes aside, all the hate aside, he's a really good quarterback. So um, he's going to do his best to come out and play.
Yeah.
So do you sit him, or do you want to get into that here in a little bit once we get to that game?
Well, no. I mean, aside from the game, I think if he's if he's cleared, like if he says he's good to go, if your team doctors clear him to play, I think you let him play because you kind of fighting for with Buffalo for that first round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So that's kind of like a big thing because it's tough to win in Arrowhead. So obviously you want that home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, um, it's tough. I mean, it's like I said, I've seen some people say that are his injuries a concern in the long run. This is not the first time his ankle has been hurt. What a lot of people are questioning, can he play for 20 years or play for 15 years at a high level like he is? And to answer that question is, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a time machine, so I think he's
Uh,
going to be just fine. I mean, I that was kind of a crazy take that I seen, but I mean, you could honestly you can make an argument. What how bad is it? This, like I said, this isn't the first time, but we won't get too much into that. Let's jump into some of these. Let's jump into this recap. Obviously, the Chiefs beat the Browns. Probably didn't need Patrick Mahomes to beat them because they're Jameis Winston just turns the ball over too much, to be honest.
yeah. Speaking of, isn't Carson Wentz their backup?
He is. So they do have a capable backup that at
Yeah,
one time was a MVP caliber player.
that's
So
true. So, I mean, maybe it's not so bad if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play in their next game.
they got a tough 3 game stretch. So I think he'll have to play. Maybe not. I don't know. You could try it. You could put Carson Wentz in there and see. We'll get into that. We'll get into that when we get to their game next week or this week per se.
Yeah.
So obviously the Bengals beat the Titans. Will Levis is just, man, he sucks. There's no other way to say it. I know we say it every week, but God, man, he sucks. He's terrible. He might be the worst quarterback in the league, hands
No,
down. It's not even close. There's backup quarterbacks that I'd rather have than him. I don't know what his problem is, but he is a turnover machine. It's like
I
they said on the broadcast, like during the commentary, like, man, what are you looking at? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what he sees.
I agree. I mean, the only other quarterback who I could think is probably comparably worse is probably Anthony Richardson, but he at least shows you like flashes more often than bad. And
I
Will
mean,
Levis
yeah,
just
they're
he's
both
just
bad. So honestly, they're gonna. It's time to hit the. This is gonna be my new little slogan. I think it's time to hit the panic button. In Tennessee, yeah, it's time to panic. We need a quarterback. Um,
again.
so yeah, so let's go ahead and tie up whatever you need to with Will Levis. Hey man, we appreciate everything you've done. Blah blah blah. But man, we got to move on. You not getting any better. You're getting worse.
No, he really is.
Um, the Commanders and the Saints. That was a really good game. Like I said, I think you got to make Spencer Rattler
Your guy?
the QB1. Oh yeah, for sure. If he would have played the whole game, I mean, well, the Commanders may have took their foot off the gas, but I mean, the Saints almost came back and beat them. The Commanders only beat them by 1 point, and Spencer Rattler came in and scored 19 points.
Yeah, I don't understand why they went with Hayner anyways. If Spencer Rattler showed you in the couple of games that he played that he's capable of, putting you all in a good
Unless,
position to win.
yeah, I didn't understand that either. Unless it was you just don't want Spencer Rattler to get hurt. Maybe that's the case that you're trying to make is you don't want him hurt.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue that, but I don't know. If he's your guy, you want him in there getting reps. I mean, obviously he's shown you what he can do. I mean, he's played a couple times this year, and they weren't necessarily great, but they weren't terrible either. So I think from here on out, you roll Spencer Rattler. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
Um, obviously the Ravens blew out the Giants. That wasn't even a game. Cowboys blew out the Panthers again. Bryce Young played not terrible, not his best game either. He just caught the Cowboys when their defense was healthy, to be honest.
That's true.
Um, Jets, Jags, that was a pretty good game. Like I told you, offset. I think Mac Jones might get some phone calls because it's he's actually not playing very he's actually playing pretty decent, all things considered, to be honest. I mean, he's throwing for like 250, 300 yards a game. He just threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, I think you might be right. I ain't really see
I,
it at first,
they
but like
might
you
keep
said,
him in Jacksonville. Hey, hey, man, do you really want to go play? Or, hey, we like what we see from you. Maybe if Trevor Lawrence doesn't pan out, you get the keys to this. I don't know how you look at that. I don't really, that's a tough conversation that you got to have. But
it depends on what offers he's looking at.
yeah, if I wouldn't want to go to like a bad team when I can stay in Jacksonville.
Nah, I mean, if the money is there, I think he'll go to whoever's offering the most money,
Yeah. I
backup
mean,
or starter.
I don't know if he'll be a starter, but I'm sure somebody's probably watching this being like, huh, we can bring him in if something happens, he's capable. Uh, the Texans, Dolphins, again, it's time for the Dolphins to panic. They got to fire their coach. I don't know what they're doing. They are either, I don't know what they got going on in Miami.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I
I
can
think
think
it's
of.
time to fire their coach. They only scored 12 points. And been, they looked pretty good there for a little bit, but I don't know. A lot of people are wanting to hit the panic button on CJ Stroud, but
Nah.
I think he's fine. I mean, half of his offense is hurt. I mean, I know Nico Collins is back now, but um, Colts the Broncos blew them out. It wasn't even close. Jonathan Taylor fumbled going into the end zone, kind of took the momentum away from Indianapolis. It's like I said, if you fumble going into the end zone, it happens twice. Jonathan Taylor did it. and Jordan Battle from Cincinnati did it. If you fumble going in the end zone, I'm taking your game check. You're not getting paid for that game.
That is crazy.
I bet they wouldn't do it again. Trying to showboat, get in
They
the end
probably
zone,
would.
then you can showboat. I'll keep taking their money away. It seems to work sometimes because you find the piss out of them. They usually don't do stupid stuff. Now I guess it happens. I guess, but there's really no excuse for you to do that. Why are you throwing the ball? Get in the end zone. Quit acting. Quit trying to showboat. Get in the end zone. That honestly pisses me off when people do that.
Well, I mean that's just the nature of sports nowadays. It's all in,
But
it's
like
all
you said,
about
it might be time to hit the panic button with Anthony Richardson. He's terrible. He sucks. He's
ah
not
well
it.
I
He's
well
not
I
your answer.
wait, hold on. I didn't say that. You can say that, but
I'll say it.
honestly,
He sucks.
he he gives the Colts reasons to want to stick with him though, because he'll have 2 or 3 game stretches where he looks like one of the best QBs in the league. So
Yeah, but
his
then he
biggest
has
thing
5 game
though,
stretches where he looks like, why'd we
yeah,
draft this guy?
I think the only thing, if he could just clean up his pass accuracy, I think he'd be
Yeah, he
fine. I
can't.
mean,
He's terrible at throwing the ball. He's either throwing interceptions or he just can't throw the ball.
but the
He needs to
Colts,
go to like a quarterback camp or something. Work with somebody on his passing because
yeah, I mean,
he's terrible at throwing the ball.
The Colts drafted him knowing that he was going to be more of a project because he was a 1 year starter at Florida. Injury concerns, yada yada yada, whatever. And now that he's there, same thing. Injury concerns. His accuracies are a definite red flag. They just, if he could clean that up, though, I think he could be really good. In all honesty,
The Bills Lions game was really good. Um, I might be a little concerned with the Bills defense. They gave up like almost 100 points in 2 games, like 90 something points. That's insane.
who was
But
the first team they gave up the 40 bomb to?
uh, man, it just happened. L.A. the Rams.
Oh, I mean, you have to be more concerned if they were teams
Nah, it
that
was
don't score
L.A.
a lot
It
of
was LA
points.
in Detroit. Either these last 2 games have been high scoring games. They've back to back weeks where they've given up at least 40.
I wouldn't be concerned because those are two really good
I
offenses.
mean, Jared Goff threw the ball 60 times. He was 40 of 60 for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's insane. And they still lost. Amon Ra had 200 yards and they still got beat. Their
Couldn't
defense
find a
is
way to win.
banged up bad. Like pretty much their whole starting defense is on the bench right now. Both their starting corners, their linebackers out. I might be a little concerned with Detroit and their defense. They got to keep winning. They need home field. I mean, Buffalo came in there and hung 50 on them. 48, 50, same thing.
True.
But Josh Allen's playing really well. I hats off to him. I think he's pretty much going to walk away with the MVP. He's playing
Mm,
like it. He's playing like
I
it.
don't. I don't know about that.
It's either going to be him or Saquon Barkley. But we're getting to that game here in a second. The Steelers shut down Saquon. He only had 60 yards. But Jalen Hurts proved a point that they could throw the football. AJ Brown had over 100 yards. Jalen Hurts had almost 300 yards passing, so he shut them up with the saying that he couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, he proved his point.
So,
Um, like I said, media nowadays they really blow a lot of stuff out of proportion. I mean, not to mention the fact that one of his other teammates,
well, yeah,
Graham,
that's what I was about to say. It really wasn't the media. It was kind of Brandon Graham. I don't think he meant it the way he said it. It is frustrating when you can't throw the ball. I mean, I guess, obviously from a fan's perspective, you want to see consistency with running and throwing. You want
True.
to be a balanced team. You don't just want to run the ball because what if Saquon was to get hurt? Well, we're in trouble because we can't throw the ball. Um, the Bucks blew out the Chargers. This is my take. I'll say it here first. The Bucks are my dark horse team to go to the Super Bowl. They are playing.
Ooh.
Baker Mayfield is the Buccaneers. They are
Oh,
playing. Baker
whoa.
Mayfield is playing out of his mind right now. I
I mean,
think
yeah,
they
that's.
got a good defense.
Mm, I feel like that's. I'll give you that because you said dark horse. You didn't say like
No, they're my dark horse. Like
that's fair.
I
I'll give you that.
I got a feeling that they can. I think they can hang with anybody. I mean, they got a good. They just blew out the Chargers, and the Chargers almost beat the Chiefs. They beat them by 30 points. They hung 40 on the Chargers.
That's good logic. I like it.
Their defense is really good. They got
Yeah.
a 3-headed monster at running back, and you don't. Bucky Irving is healthy or getting back healthy. White's playing pretty good. Turner's playing pretty good. They got Mike Evans back. Obviously, he had 160 yards. Baker Mayfield's gonna make sure he gets that 1,000 yards for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Baker Mayfield's playing out of his mind. So they're my dark horse. That I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but hey, going into the playoffs, you never know what can happen. Cleveland is sick, just disgusted in themselves
Oh yeah. Of
that
course.
they let this man walk. They're going to win the division because Atlanta sucks.
Ooh, yeah. Kirk Cousins. He's I like it. Like his coach said, flat out, he's got to be better.
Yeah, or he's going to be put on the bench. Geno Smith got hurt in the Seattle game. So I don't know what that looks like. Apparently, it wasn't that bad, but they're not going to risk putting him back in the game. They were already getting beat anyway. Last two games: Bears, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders. Monday, yesterday, Vikings blew out the Bears, like I predicted. Like I said, wasn't even really close. The Bears are terrible. They haven't won since before they played Washington when they gave up that Hail Mary. I don't know if it was cursed. People are saying they're cursed by taunting, and that's what you get. But they're on a 9-game losing streak right now. They haven't won in 9 games.
They just need to make the right moves in the offseason and just
Yeah,
come
protect
out.
Caleb Williams. He's getting killed.
Yeah, just go out and try to compete a little more next season. Try to just bring those win totals up.
Honestly, I'd just bench Caleb Williams at this point.
Oh, you can't because I mean he's already played the whole season basically. You can't bench him
I
now.
know, but you don't want him getting hurt and having some terrible injury. You're 4-10. You're not going nowhere. I'd be like, look, Caleb, we don't want you getting hurt. You are our franchise quarterback. We don't want you hurt. We're just gonna roll with whoever their backup quarterback is.
Well,
Whatever that
yeah,
his name was.
yeah. Now that you're saying that, it does make sense. No
I
point
mean,
in
it doesn't
playing
matter.
him
You're
in.
already eliminated now.
Yeah, it's meaningless games. They don't really mean anything. He might as well
Yeah,
just
you're eliminated from
chill.
the playoffs, so you're not going. So look, we'll sit you on the bench. You know, we appreciate it. We've seen what you can do. You are our guy, but we don't want to risk you getting out here, getting seriously hurt. We can't block anybody.
Exactly.
Now, we might be having a different discussion if they do that and this backup quarterback comes in and starts torching people. Kind of like Andy Dalton did with Bryce. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Is it Bryce? We might be having a different conversation. But
Nah,
like I
I don't
said,
think
put him
so.
on the bench. There's no point in playing him. You ain't playing for nothing. He ain't winning Rookie of the Year. He's been playing terrible.
Yeah, Jay
Um,
Daniels got that locked up.
yeah, he pretty much has that locked up. But he might not. There's a few other people that can make a case, but we'll get into that. We'll save that for another episode. Obviously, like you said, Kirk Cousins. Luckily for him, the Raiders are terrible. They scored at the end. Um, so the Falcons just played a worse team than they were, and that's
I
not
heard
saying much.
I heard somebody call Kirk Cousins Desmond Ritter 2.0.
It's like I told you. I think it's because he doesn't have somebody to bail him out. You got to think. Look at the teams he played for. They all had really good receivers. I'm not saying Atlanta's a bad team, but they don't have a Justin Jefferson. They don't have a Stephon Diggs. They
I
don't
mean, of course
have.
not, but they have capable guys though. That's the thing. Like they have
Maybe
guys.
it's him. Maybe it was that injury. Kirk Cousins ain't no spring chicken. He's kind of
Yeah,
old.
yeah, no, he is. I don't.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes you gotta know when to hang it up, and I don't think you. I don't know. But the problem is you gave Kirk a lot of money, so you can move on if you want to, but
Yeah,
you ain't gonna be able to do nothing because you got $200 million tied up into Kirk.
yeah. You're in the first year of that deal too, so you can't really just bail on it now because you already paid him all that money. So
Yeah,
maybe
and
they
he got a
just
lot of it um, guaranteed.
maybe they just look to improve in the offseason and see where they faltered. Like as far like was
It's
it?
it's him. No, it's him. Like he's throwing picks like crazy, and I mean the defense can only do so much. They get a
Yeah,
stop, and you go back out there and throw a pick. 3 plays in, they got to go right back out there. But that's again, we'll save that for another day. Let's jump into Week 16. Thursday night, we got a bunch of games. A bunch. We got Thursday through Monday. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Um, so we got the Broncos Chargers on Thursday. Um, I'm gonna lean Broncos. I think that they're gonna be a scary team. Then they're gonna upset somebody in the playoffs.
yeah. I like their defense. They play a very physical brand of
Breaking
defense.
news. Hold that thought before it crosses off my screen. Andy Reid said that he's confident in Carson Wentz if Patrick Mahomes does not play Sunday. Go ahead.
Oh, well, what was that? Oh, dang, I forgot what I was saying. Um, oh yeah, no, they play the Broncos play a very physical brand of defense, and that from what you saw with the Buccaneers. I mean, they put up 40 and held the Chargers to 17. I don't really expect the Broncos to score a bunch, but I
The
think
defense should be able to hold them to at least that.
yeah, yeah, I figure they won't score more than 20.
I mean, the Chargers didn't even score in the second half. The Tampa Bay shut them down. Um. So yeah, I'm going to lean Broncos there. So this is the big game: Texans and the Chiefs. It's at home. Is Patrick Mahomes going to play? I think it's up in the air right now. It'll probably be a game time decision, to be honest. Like I said, I'd play Carson Wentz, to be honest, and then I would put Mahomes in there if I needed to. You know what I mean? That's what I would do.
I think if he doesn't play,
Because the Texans got a good defense, and if Mahomes isn't healthy, he could hurt himself. He could hurt it even more because the Texans got a solid pass rush.
yeah, I just like I said, if he doesn't play, I don't think they win that game because with him playing, they've had like 8 close games this season where they won by like a possession or like a possession or a field goal or whatever. So like now, if he doesn't play, I don't really expect them to. I don't think they would. I don't think they can win without him.
I don't know if they can or not, but like we said, Carson Wentz once upon a time, this man was a MVP level player. Was
We'll,
taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Was
we'll see.
playing at a MVP level. So maybe. Uh, Another game Saturday, Steelers and Ravens. Um, that's gonna be a good game too. So Saturday's that's a nice doubleheader.
Oh no, it is
Um, again, I'm gonna lean Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beat them the first time, right?
hard to beat a team twice though. I think the Ravens learn from their
This is a big game for the Ravens. They need to win.
no, they definitely need to win this game because I mean their biggest thing with coming into the season was we got Derrick Henry now. We're a much more balanced offense. Let's go and win a Super Bowl. And so far, I'm not saying wins and losses determine whether or not you make it to the Super Bowl, but they're going to have a tough road ahead with what, 8 wins and 5 losses right now?
They're 9-5.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you're not going to have home field advantage throughout. You're going to have to go to somebody's stadium at some point and beat them in their place. So that's going to be the biggest thing for them is can they get over the hump and do that since they
Yeah,
already put themselves out of position to, have that home field.
yeah, for sure. I mean, um, still, I think I'm gonna roll Pittsburgh. Um, good defense. Lamar's probably going to throw the ball. Obviously, he did that against the Giants, but that's the Giants we're talking about. Yeah, I'm going to roll Pittsburgh. The Lions, they play the Bears. They're going to blow them out. Probably beat them 30-10 or something like that. They'll blow them out. Should be able to anyway.
They'll probably still put up 40 for sure.
Yeah, about to say they'll probably score at least 30. At least they should anyway. I mean, they just scored 40 on the Bills. So, Bengals play the Browns again. There's a chance that the Bengals can make the playoffs. I know it's going to be a shot. It's going to be a long shot at that probably, but they got to win out. Um, I think if they win out and somehow if they make a run to the playoffs, can win out, make a run to the playoffs, I think you have to consider Joe Burrow for the MVP. He's
No,
thrown
you have
for
to
almost 4,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns. So
forget considering. You have to give if they make the playoffs, you'd have to literally give him the award. And if you didn't, it would be a sham of an award this year. Just like I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna leave that out. But yeah,
I mean, obviously, offensive player of the year is going to go to Jamar, probably. Well, either that or Saquon or Derrick
oh,
Henry. It can go either way.
that's a lot of people who can get that.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's if they somehow can make a run to the playoffs, I think, like you said, I think you got to give it to them. But
Yeah, you got to give
that's
it to
got to
them.
happen first. Eagles Commanders again. I think that could be a really good game. I think the Eagles are just going to be a little bit too much. But this is a big game for Jaden Daniels too. Can he beat a very good team?
Or at least hang with them.
I mean, last time they played, I think he hung with them for a little bit. I think the score was a little bit worse than was it close? They've played the Eagles once.
Yeah, I think they only lost by like a
A
possession, if
possession
I'm not
or
mistaken.
maybe 10. Maybe I mean I don't really remember, but yeah. So they're playing a little bit better. Washington is, um, but again, if they can beat the Eagles, obviously they can kind of hang with anybody because the Eagles are a very good team. I'm gonna roll upset there. I'm gonna roll with the Commanders.
I think I'm gonna stick with the Eagles just because they're kind of I
They're
think
gonna
they're
be
a
hard
little
to stop for
tilted.
sure.
They're a little tilted because of that whole
I mean,
fiasco.
Saquon might break 2K. He's
God, he
at
might.
1688 right now, so he's about 200 yards away, and they got 3 games to do it in.
Yeah.
And they're going to
Right.
have to play all 3 games because they're tied.
Oh yeah, they're all tied.
They're
Them, the
all tied
Lions.
for them. The Lions and the Vikings are all tied for the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to keep playing unless another team loses, obviously. But the Eagles play the Vikings next week, I believe. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but they do play I'll look at that one before we wrap this up. I'll look at that. The Vikings play the Seahawks. Um, obviously, Seahawks are probably going to be without Geno Smith.
Mm,
I lied. It wasn't. It's not. It's they play their last three games are the Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants. So if they can beat the Commanders, they'll cakewalk the last two games. It's the Vikings. They play the Lions. I'm sorry. The Bucks play the Cowboys Sunday. I think that'll be a pretty decent. It should be a pretty decent game. The Bucks should be able to hang in there. They should be able to beat the Cowboys. Offensively, I don't think the Cowboys just have enough, to be honest.
Cooper Rush is cool, but he's no Dak Prescott, so that is what it is. You're not really gonna win a bunch of games.
Yeah. Uh, 49ers and Dolphins. I don't know. I don't even know if
uh,
Brock Purdy's going to play.
I'll probably roll Dolphins.
They're down bad right now. I think Brock Purdy's back. I'm not sure. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to that. And then Monday, well, I mean, you got the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots. Do you think the Bills are going to beat them by 30?
Mm, I don't know. 30 is kind of a stretch, but they, it's
Think they're
hard
going to
to.
get
I
blown
know what
out?
you. As a fan, I want to say no, but being realistic, they might just because you never really know what you're gonna get week in and week out with the Patriots. Like a lot of times, like from what I've seen from Drake May, he's gonna compete every single week, but he's not playing defense and he doesn't have enough weapons to make big enough plays. So they might get blown out. Hopefully they keep it close because I like to see them pull the upset on Buffalo. They've done it before. And Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times when they upset him.
Yeah,
So.
so, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so the Vikings do play the Lions at the end of the year. They play them January 5th. So
Interesting.
that game right there probably going to determine a lot if they all went out.
Yeah.
Detroit and Minnesota will play for the number one seed, if I had to imagine. But wrapping up this week, we got the Packers and the Saints Monday. Again, like I said, roll Spencer Rattler. See what you got. I think the Packers should be able to. I mean, they're favored by 14. They should be able to easily beat the Saints.
Yeah. I'd
I'm
probably
not
roll
saying they're going to
Packers.
blow them out, but I think it'll be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I'll probably roll Packers in that one.
So, but let me see. Let me get back to the notes.
Well, side note, um, since we're in the Christmas season, I think if I had one Christmas wish, it'd be to go back to like maybe 10 years ago, just to really take in where the sports landscape was, like college football, NFL, like it just, there was a lot more competitiveness. Like it just seems like everything's a lot softer nowadays, or everybody's really only just concerned with the money, which I mean, it's fair. I mean, you know, this is what you do for your livelihood. So of course the money is going to be a big factor in it. But now it just seems like that's the only thing they really care about. They don't really care about the sport anymore.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough out. It's tough to be a fan nowadays, just because with the whole college thing and a lot of stuff that's going on in the sports world. But just it's money. People are money hungry now. So if I had one Christmas wish, it would be that the Bengals make a run and win the Super Bowl. Football for football purposes. That would be
Ah,
my
see,
wish.
I thought you were going to say at least make the playoffs. Super Bowl is kind of
Nah,
crazy.
I think that's what I want them to do. Turn their season around, make a run to the Super Bowl, win it, and then Joe Burrow is going to win MVP. Do you think if they do that,
Well, I
you give
mean,
Joe Burrow comeback player of the year too?
no, you can't give him that.
No, you can't. I really don't know who they're going to give that to be honest. But yeah, that would be my one wish for them to make a run and win the Super Bowl. I think they offensively they can hang with anybody. It's just their defense. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if I think that the Bill they would it would be it'd be 48-45 if they played the Bills or the Rams or whoever they play. It's going to be a lot of points. Even the Titans scored 27, and they suck.
Well, the only downside is against the elite defense, y'all aren't going to score every single time.
Ah, I mean, we've scored on everybody at least 30. So yeah, that would be my wish. And if I had another wish, it'd be for next year for Alabama to not win a single game. That would be my other wish. And for LSU to go to the and for LSU to win the Natty.
Ah, that's wishful thinking. I'm glad that's your secondary wish. Honestly, if I had a second wish,
Yeah.
it'd probably be I don't know. That's a really hard to think about. I'd probably say the Patriots get the number one overall pick and trade it for a top wide receiver. That'd be a good Christmas wish.
So yeah, we can touch on that for a second. What do you think about that? There's if they get the say for instance they won't get the number one pick. I think that they'll win. They might win. They might win another game. The Giants, they're terrible. The Raiders, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Um, if they got the number one pick, what do they do with that?
I mean, see,
Or do you
a
want to
lot.
save that for another episode?
No. That's fine. That's fine. Nowadays, you don't really see a lot of offensive linemen going in the number one, number two spot. They're kind of falling a little more off the
Yeah,
board.
we haven't seen that in a couple years.
Honestly, I don't think we've seen a number one or number two offensive lineman in like a really long time, like a while.
No,
Which,
the Chiefs took one, I think.
dog, that was like that was like 10 years ago.
There's it's been
Yeah, that
recent.
was not that I remember. Number one or number two, I don't remember that. Personally, I don't. It's really been. You got to think the last 5 years have been really quarterback heavy. You didn't see an offensive lineman go number one or number two. Maybe top five, but I'm talking about like one, two, respectively. It's been like quarterbacks because everybody needs a quarterback nowadays. But no, I think if they were to get that pick, um, I don't think they should take an offensive lineman number one overall. I mean, trade the pick to somebody who would want to use that pick, for a skill position, and then go and
Yeah,
get
Eric Fisher, 2013.
yeah, I thought it was like 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago. Yeah, so yeah,
But no, I would if I were them and I got that number one pick, I'm trading it for a top talent wide receiver. Somebody will be willing to give up anybody for the number one overall pick, of course. You can replace whoever you send it out.
yeah,
And if they fall in that three spot, which 9 times out of 10, like you said, they might win another game. That's probably where they're going to fall. Then again, you can still trade it for somebody. It's a top three pick. You can dangle that to anybody, and they're going to say, "Hey,
yeah,
look,
that's true.
we'll give you our best receiver. It's cool. It's a top three pick. We'll replace him. We don't care."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You ain't wrong on that.
So it's either that or you draft the best receiver in this draft with that pick.
And to be honest, I don't really know who that is.
Based
There
on all the
really
hype,
aren't.
it's Travis Hunter. Based on all the hype, and you can play him both ways. So
No, the Patriots don't need that. They need a veteran guy that can come in and take over.
yep.
Like we said offset, T Higgins. Whatever. Look to you, Higgins. Look to you. Whatever. What do you want? You want 100 mil? Come on, we'll give it to you.
Well, see, they already said they're willing to just pay him. So if they can pay him and then still
Yeah,
go and get somebody
He
else,
walks unless Cincinnati pays him. So you can pay him and then trade that pick to whoever,
yep.
and then Or, like you said, take that pick, trade it to somebody. You got the receiver that you wanted. Trade that pick for multiple picks and maybe a player. Maybe trade
Yeah,
that pick to, I don't know, somebody that maybe needs something.
that would be
Maybe get
smart.
a running back. Running backs really aren't worth first round picks, but you might be able to get a running back and a pick for something because the
True.
Patriots do kind of need a running back.
Yeah, I mean, I like the 1-2 punch they got with Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, but Ramondre Stevenson, there's health concerns and he has ball security issues too. So
Yeah,
I just don't really see him staying there long term, anyways.
but yeah, that's and then again, everybody will have. We're gonna do a whole episode on uh the breakdown at the end of the season. We'll get more into depth with some teams. I'm gonna try. I think we should try to go in depth with all these teams just to try to see like what they need. Especially from the standpoint of like the bottom barrel teams. Obviously, the Vikings, they got a big decision to make, but a lot of these teams, they're pretty much set. They just need to fill holes in rotation. But yeah, we'll do a whole episode on that. So that's pretty much all I got for this week's NFL recap, predictions, and just our little ramble session.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I have too. I mean, coming up, with the season's about to end, like Tyler said, we're gonna do a breakdown episode for the end of the year. And then we're working on doing an episode for college football, the end of season, but only for our two teams respectively, just so we can get like a full, like, in-depth breakdown on what next season looks like and, how everything went this season and, so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
um, that's pretty much what we do have coming up. And then on the 30th is when the reflection episode drops on YouTube. So just be on the lookout for that. And we'll keep y'all up to date on everything we got coming and whatnot. And that pretty much, that finishes up our little ramble session for today. And we
But,
will catch y'all.
but
Oh,
before
go
you
ahead.
end it, I want to say one thing. I don't know if you've seen or if anybody listens that heard, Randy Moss got diagnosed with cancer. So I wish him the best, speedy recovery. Hope he beats it. I'm not really sure what cancer it is. Didn't really look into it. I don't know if it's said or if it how bad it is, but I do know he was diagnosed with cancer. So I wish him nothing but the best because he is a pretty good person. Hall of Famer. Aside from all that, you don't want to see anybody struggle with that. So I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, prayers are definitely with him. That's very tough. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Mm-mm. But yeah,
But
that's like you said. That's all we got.
yeah, we'll catch y'all in the next episode.